Welcome to the beautiful Lake Chabot Disc Golf Course in Oakland, California. We are watching the final 9 of the Oakland City Championships driven by Innova. Here we have the top 4 pro women. I'm Juliana Korver, and with me today is Arthur Coddington.
It's great to be here. Juliana, we see that you are on the top of the final card. And we also have Jenn Casanov-Diggs from Martinez, California. And also Camille Skweir from McKinleyville, California. And the 4th member of the final 9 is Amanda Zaccone. Coming into the final 9 on this safari version of the Bay course is Juliana at +2, and then Jenn at +9, and then 4 strokes back we have Camille and Amanda.
Kind of feels like this is a throwback because of the final 9, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
This is our first hole for the Safari Final 9, and it is hole 5 of the Bay course. It is 516 feet. I think the women's is about 30 feet shorter than that. We had a shorter tee, and there is a sand trap on the left, and there's a green right about in the landing zone. I'm actually throwing a putter right here to take everything out of play, and then I'm going to throw my long shot on the second one.
One of the nice things about this hole is that there are a lot of options of how to play it. So I like that you're using the slower disc in order to set up the second shot.
Exactly. I didn't want to fall off the hill, and I didn't want a lot of ground play.
Looks like Jen's going for a little faster disc, but comes out a little late and goes wide.
Well, it was obvious that Jenn has not had a lot of experience in front of a crowd, and you could see that she was nervous with the people watching.
Oh, look at that. Straight up the middle for Camille.
Yep, looks exactly like she did during the actual play. Throwing a faster disc off to the right to be safe and hoping to roll down onto the flat to have a good run-up.
What a beautiful flight from Amanda.
She seems to have no fear out there, and she places that perfectly just in front of the green,
Just
giving
willing
her
it down right
maximum
before the green.
distance.
Yeah.
Exactly. The basket is tucked behind that. Well, we're zooming in on it. You can see the base of it. It is really guarded by that tree that has that unique base. Many of us, we're all trying to hyzer around the outside of that, but you can't get it up too high because there is an OB line on the left.
So you're using that wide line, but it looks like the tree caught it.
Yeah, I didn't pull it out wide enough. It's hard to know how fast a disc to use there because it's distance-wise, it's not that far, but you've got...
This needs to get down.
I think you have at least 30 feet of elevation there. Maybe it's only 20, but it makes it play much, much farther.
Oh, wow. She hit the basket.
She's very, very accurate on her approach discs and her long putts.
Go in.
Hoping it'll change the second time you watch it. This looks routine, but we did have enough wind that it made you think about putting the nose up.
And as you said, the OB is pretty close to the basket, isn't it? On the left of where
Yes.
Amanda's throwing.
It's not close enough that I would worry that you would roll over there, but it's close enough that I would worry that an air shot might lift up and fly over there.
Good bit from Amanda, just an inch low.
Maybe even less than an inch there. No fear looking out over that drop-off. Great putt by Jenn.
as well designed as this hole is, it's easy to go from the 3 to a bigger number if you have a miss throw on any of the throws.
Yeah, we all played it fairly conservatively, taking out the dangers in the beginning, but there's still quite a few dangers towards the pin with that elevation and that OB.
All right, solid start for the card. Talk to us a little bit about what's going on for you here. You've got a big lead. How do you approach the final 9?
Going into the day, I did not have a big lead. I got that lead during the round in the morning, and it allowed me to be completely comfortable going into the final 9, and I knew that I could just relax and throw hard and not worry about the consequences. This is our second hole. It is a combination of holes 6 and 7 on the Bay course, and it plays quite long. You can see that in the beginning there is a low clearance that you have to go under. There is an OB on the right, but most of us are going to try to hyzer out to the left to stay safe, and then ideally we have enough power to get up to the basket, but that's going to be very hard.
This is an interesting layout because I'm guessing none of you have played this before. You've played the individual holes, but not the combos.
That is correct. Well, at least I certainly haven't. I don't know if the other girls have or not. Is this a hole that was played for a finals of any of the other previous events that have been held here?
No. This is a brand new that we brought the final 9 up to the Bay course.
That is a very good shot for the hole 6 itself. It's going to be a little bit tricky for the combination hole because she's going to have to throw something large that comes back to the right. Looks like she's disappointed by that Camille shot, but it was actually just fine, and it gets far enough to the left that she should have a good line.
I think everyone did an awesome job in getting through that low ceiling.
You can tell just how much rise there is here, and if this were completely flat, I think we would have a chance to get to the pin, but boy, with the elevation change, it makes it very, very difficult.
That's how the Bay course is. It's full of elevation and often full of the elements as well.
And both these girls have uphill run-up, which also takes some of your power away.
You can just see the basket over that bluff. It looks like Jenn might have a putt.
I have delusions of grandeur here, thinking I'm going to be able to get to the pin, and I just pulled it a little bit too far right, trying to throw too hard.
That looks like a great approach shot from Camille.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, that was really well done. She took all of the trouble on the right out of play, and she's close enough that it should be a reasonably easy putt for her.
I'm noticing how much of a curve that Jenn and Amanda have had to put on both of their last 2 throws.
These 2 throws as well. Now, from our view, we can see the basket, but the camera angle makes it look a little bit easier than it is. Now the camera's behind us, so now you can see. You can't see the basket at all. I know where it is, but
it looks so steep.
Yeah. I do believe that's the first forearm I've ever thrown on camera.
That was a good one to start with. Is that a new thing for you?
Yeah, it's something I'm working on. Yes.
Oh no, did that roll? So OB is over to the right, and it's a pretty steep hill.
There are stakes that mark the OB on the right. You can see the stake right just to the right of the basket. I don't think she went OB, but of course you never want to roll away from a basket.
That's a good up from a really difficult line.
So now I'm looking out over the OB, which makes me a little bit nervous. Which makes me throw it a little bit low.
You're not the only one. Camille's got such a powerful putt. I love it.
Oh, she does. She really does. She can throw the straddle putt from, I don't know, 40, 50 feet. It's amazing. And that was a par for Camille.
Well, it looks like Amanda stayed in and then made a really nice uphill comebacker. So you and Jenn and Amanda came in with 5s, and Camille tapped out for the 4 with that wonderful putt.
Yes, that is correct. And though slightly disappointed in the 5, it really didn't feel like a bogey on that hole.
Especially playing it blind. I mean, with all of the elevation change and with all of the low ceiling issues, I think the 5 is awesome.
Very solid putt by Amanda there.
All right, the goat hole.
The goat hole. This is hole 8 on the Bay course, and it plays about 270 feet. The basket is actually placed on top of that wall, but right on the edge. So any putt from on top of the wall looking out over the edge is, of course, intimidating. And when you're down below it, it's incredibly steep. So it's just an angle that you're not used to playing. This is kind of a fun hole. It's short enough that everybody should have an opportunity to get it, but it seems to play harder than it looks.
It's a tricky flight, but that looks amazing.
Yes, that is a great shot. She's in a good position. She's going to have a tall putt, but it's one in which she's not going to be scared to run it.
Yeah.
Once again, I yanked that over the right, didn't put very much on it. Very disappointed in that drive.
One of the things we don't see here are the actual goats to the right. and it's really important to feed the goats before you tee off.
Okay, she had a really good line there. She threw it too low, but it shouldn't be any trouble.
Oh, get down. It's interesting because she's over in an area where she actually will probably have a nice clear shot up to the basket.
Yeah, I actually haven't looked from up there, but I think you're right on that. So
There are the goats. There we go.
Jenn put hers off to the right, which is nice and safe, but it leaves you with a little bit of a scary putt for her par.
Did that go over the edge?
I believe it did, yes.
Oh, no.
So now I am trying to throw just over that bush that's between me and the basket, and I want to make sure that it's flat so it falls down and doesn't hyzer off.
Oh, that looks a little high.
I thought so too.
Did that go in?
It did. I didn't believe it.
Juliana,
Yes.
what did you do? What did you just do?
I thought that I threw it too high, and I thought I was going to end up on the path, and then the basket got in the way. So that was quite fun.
The goats were on your side. That's amazing. Nice shot.
Thank you.
Oh, good run.
That was an excellent run. She got that high enough that it had a chance to go in, but look at, she didn't. She's just right on the edge, and she was able to keep it up on the ledge, which is important.
Get in. Oh, nice shot.
That-
And that is a tough putt.
That is a beautiful shot. If she has any nerves because of the positioning of the basket, she's going to lose a little bit of her line or her height, and she had none of that. It was just beautiful.
So Mando a little left on that one. She will tap out for a bogey.
Yeah, it's hard to keep the line that you're used to when you are looking significantly up or downhill.
Here we go.
Oh, it's too high, it's too
The
high.
goats
it's
are
too
intervening. Right in there. Wow. Wow. What a highlight.
Here we have another combined hole. This is playing 9 to 10 on the bay course. And the intent of this hole is to go down the middle and then I guess hyzer out to the side where you can then attack the basket. It is long. Gosh, I don't know what the distance is, but it is 2 long drives. However,
you were not going through the gut.
I thought about it for a long time. I really thought I was going to go up the gut, and then I, with some outside help, decided to go on the left-hand side. Mm-hmm. The thing that was scary about this is there was a predominant headwind, and I was worried that going on the left-hand side, if it hyzered at all and you showed the bottom of the disc, it was just going to take it for a ride, and it was going to be as far away from the pin as you were at the start.
Jenn showing how you can really effectively go down the gut, and she looks like she got a nice flare.
Yes, that's a beautiful position, or at least it looked like it was going to be a beautiful position. It was right as the hole was intended to be play. Now both Amanda and Camille ended up a little bit farther left, and so they're going to have a really far shot coming up right here. Yeah, you can't even see where the pin is.
But no pesky obstacles.
That is true. If it wasn't so windy, from this position, a roller would be tempting.
And that's something we haven't talked about, is you can see it in the flags a bit. The wind is blowing. We've been anticipating a storm arriving, and the wind is building. It's probably up to, what, like 15 miles an hour headwind at this point?
Yeah, and it is a headwind, so it's definitely in the thought process here. So I'm throwing a shrike here, and I'm trying to keep it low, hoping that the wind doesn't play with it too much.
That looks amazing.
Yes, I was very happy with that shot. Very happy that the wind didn't make it go left or right. Now, so this is the shot that went down the middle, and it looked great, but she now has to do a big left to right turn, and the wind takes that, so
probably a good thing that she hit that tree, because there's OB on the right, isn't there?
There is, yes. She was anhysering pretty hard, so it is possible that she would have found that OB. But any way you look at it, she had a very tough shot to throw there.
That's more like that should give her a pretty clear approach shot.
Yes. And I think she was a little bit gun-shy from her first one, where she turned it over too much. So there she didn't turn it over quite enough, and then the wind did find the bottom of it and pushed it even farther away.
Oh, great line from Mando.
Yes, beautiful line. And beautiful control into the wind.
I don't think we've seen a forehand from Camille yet.
She brings them out occasionally. That's a scary place, in my opinion, to throw a forehand because of the OB on the right side of the basket.
Yeah, I think she wanted to skip it toward the basket across that pathway, but maybe just sawed it off a bit.
There was no way I was going to go for this one. With that low ceiling and the wind and the slope on the right of the basket with the OB.
But now you've got the drop in.
Yes.
So mission accomplished.
Exactly what I wanted.
Oh, that looked really good.
It did. I don't know why that one fell out. It looked as if it hit right side but fell off left side, which doesn't make any sense.
So many obstacles just sneaking up on you on the bay course. Little branches here, 15-mile-an-hour headwinds there.
Beautiful shot by Jenn. After playing our 4th hole, I maintain my lead, and Jenn has 3 strokes on Camille, who is ahead of Amanda.
There's that sidearm.
This is the regular hole 11 on the Bay course, and this is a fun little hole. You kind of have to, if you're throwing right-handed backhand, you kind of have to flex something overstable out to the right and have it fall right to the basket. And boy, this basket can be treacherous. I'm throwing a Star Wraith. I didn't pull it out as wide as I wanted to, but I still liked the movement of it. Until that.
What's going on with the rolls here? I remember from playing this hole that mound right in front of you can really get in your head.
It can, yeah. And then you've got the two trees that you have to fly between as well. So there are a lot of natural obstacles that you need to stay clear of.
Tree got in the way of me too.
That looked like it was right down the middle.
Yeah. So now I'm noticing that basket's pretty high up.
Oh my gosh, it is so high up. And then when you've got the natural slope of the land, if you're on the bottom side of that, if you're on the bottom...
Don't roll. No. No.
Thankfully, there is no OB here, so she is still in bounds. She's just a long way from the basket. Got that a little bit high, hit that tree, and
More
it looks
rolls.
like...
What is going on, Bay Course? Come on. It looks like the basket's as high as the roof.
You know, on one of the previous rounds I was watching, it was Camille. She was putting from the path, and, you know, she has enough power to get there. And she was putting at such an angle that I thought, if she misses this, could it actually land on the roof of the bathroom there? I was scared of it. I didn't want to put the disc up in the air. I didn't want to...
Yeah, it looks like everyone's
give it a
just
chance.
playing smart, especially with the wind that's going on here. No need to get it up there in the headwind.
You know, even an 8-footer on this basket can make your knees buckle.
Nice.
Well, at least for some of us. Perhaps not for Jenn.
Looks like Jenn had the added obstacle of having like the building right behind her. I think I'm guessing that's where Camille's powerful putt can come into.
Absolutely.
Be a big advantage.
Yes. So here, I'm right by the basket, and yet I'm still freaked out about putting the disc on that angle with this wind.
Turbo.
Use the height.
So you and Amanda parred this. Jenn and Camille took 4s, which takes us into hole 12. It's too bad the Bay course doesn't have any good views.
It really is a gorgeous course. Here is hole 12 on the Bay course, and the main obstacle is that green, though it is kind of out of our reach, so we really don't have to worry about it. We can throw pretty much as hard as we want and hopefully chew off quite a bit of the distance so that we have a good approach. And this pin is also on a little bit elevated, but not nearly to the extent as the previous hole, so it's not nearly as intimidating as the previous one.
One of the trade-offs of those amazing views is that the wind gets to come right off of the hill over the top of it. So these last 2 holes are especially exposed.
I really liked her line.
Yeah.
It was a little bit lower than she normally throws if she had gotten that up in the air, which I think she did because of the wind. Maybe trying to be a little bit more conservative, but still a very good shot.
Very low from Camille.
Also keeping it very low. But again, this hole, it's, I think, in the mid to high, there we go, 450 feet. And so as long as we get 150 feet off the tee, everybody in the card can reach it. So it really doesn't matter how much distance you have here.
That one's getting a lot of wind play. And right out there.
That's a beautiful position.
As a card mate, how do you adjust when someone has a low throw like that and you're teeing off next?
I don't know that this is the wisest thing, but and it's not that I don't watch my competitors throw, I do, but I really, really, really want to be the first one on the tee because I do not want to be influenced by any mistakes that they might make, because I don't know if it was a mistake in which disc to choose or if they just had a physical hiccup that caused something weird to happen. And I don't want to be second guessing myself when I'm standing on the tee. There is a little bit of a rise in the land up to where the stump is. So this plays a little bit longer than it looks. So you really have to throw this one hard, but you have to keep it low to try to stay by the basket. I'm throwing a putter here, low and hard. At least that's the idea.
That looks great.
Yes, I was very happy with that shot.
You'll be putting downwind from there as well, huh?
Yes.
So what did you notice about the other ladies on the card? What kind of adjustments or vibe were you sensing?
Well, we're coming down to the end. We only have 3 holes left, and the
that was close.
Gap between the other 3 ladies is about the same as it was when we started. So I've gained a few strokes, and with that beautiful
putt.
Yes, with that shot, Amanda is now tied with Camille, and they are both, I believe, 3 shots back on Jenn. But the holes that we have left, there's a lot of movement that can happen.
You can just sense the wind from here and the way that Camille is setting up, that any small putt is a big putt.
Yeah, in front of the crowd, with an elevated basket, with the wind, it all adds to the heaviness, the feeling of the putt.
No turbo this time, though.
No, this one's not quite as high, so not as scared of that one. Lake Chabot sure does provide beautiful views.
It's a fantastic facility. We're so lucky to be able to play 2 18-hole courses in the hills of Oakland.
Oh, speaking of beauty, look at the green on this particular shot. So many different colors of green. Now this one is actually reachable. It's 426 with a really good shot. You can get there, but the side hill where the basket is, not mine. Mine was not a really good shot.
Uh-oh.
I pulled that one over. There is OB on the right. Thankfully, I hit the tree and fell down. This hole is so interesting because no matter where you're at, the next shot is tricky. Even if it's a 20-foot putt, it is tricky because that green is so steeply elevated.
A triple black diamond green.
Yes, exactly.
And Amanda, it looks like she made a really great disc choice there that hyzered back into a nice spot to go to the basket.
Yeah, I think she'll be able to see the pin from there. The mistake that happens often is hyzering in too early and then being completely blocked by those trees. Really liked the start of that.
Yeah.
I believe that was a pretty overstable disc.
Lots of trees in the way between there and the vertical hill where the basket's on.
So on the tee, I wasn't happy with this, but when I was standing over my shot, this is my bread and butter. I can throw my putter hard straight into the side of the hill, which will hopefully land at an angle or no angle so that it won't roll. So it ended up being easier to execute that shot than the other 2 times I'd played it during the week and was much closer.
Yeah, it's really a luxury on this hole to not have to use any angles. No rollaways. But Jenn is going to have to scoot. Oh, wow. She scooted it through at a great angle.
I would love to see the
window.
line. Yeah, I know it's very, very tiny because I had to do it myself one of the rounds. Great shot.
All right. This whole card has rocked this course with their upshots.
Yes, we paid in rollaways in the previous rounds, so it was kind to us this time.
I'm going to knock wood that I didn't talk too soon, though, because we've still got some putts. We've seen some really unfortunate rollaways over the years on this hole, so I'm crossing my fingers.
Now this is also, it almost looks from the camera angle that I am below it at this point. I am not. I am still, I'm still above it. Putting down. Oh, that almost looked like it jumped out. Thankfully that didn't happen.
And these are the kind of putts you want on this hole. And by the way, the course is saying, okay, you just climbed that hill. Let's climb some more up to the next tee.
The next hole that we're playing is our 8th hole for the final 9. It is hole 14 of the Bay course. And this little cutie is about 251 feet. And you can see that it's a peninsula hole. There is a cart path that goes all the way around. And it slopes down to that cart path. And that cart path and beyond is OB.
The wind seems like it's still building.
The wind is behind us, but it is very strong. Behind us and maybe off to the right a little bit. You can see it moving the T signs.
"250 feet, peninsula, sloping down on all sides to OB, no problem."
This is a kind of, I think this is a really fun shot, but there's so much that can go wrong here. She is going to be flirting with the OB on the left-hand side there.
I heard it spin.
Uh-oh.
Turn that over a little bit
Looks
too much.
like it got a good bounce, though.
Well, until that.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Yeah, that we saw that happen earlier in the day as well, to Amanda's shot, where you get caught up in those trees and it's easy to catch an edge and roll OB.
And she didn't have a lot of a landing zone on that second shot either.
She had a beautiful shot, though, coming back at the basket. That also was a very beautiful.
Yeah.
Well controlled.
Oh, my goodness.
Trying to take the wind out of play and almost put it in. Now, my shot went a lot farther away than I thought. I was not out of bounds. I was on the edge. I stood over that shot
just stopped in the air.
because I threw a pig.
Okay.
I stood over that putt for a long time with my AVR, not feeling good about going into the headwind uphill, and ended up throwing the pig, which was the right choice because boy did I get the nose up.
So Jen's having a rough time of it on this hole.
Yeah, her last shot, which hit the basket, rolled away a little bit, making it... Every one of those putts is hard because of the wind on this. It's so windy.
It's beyond hat level wind.
So I'm throwing the pig again. I'm very close to the basket, but I am scared to let go of that disc.
Oh, no.
That was a brutal hole for Jenn. She carded a quadruple bogey on that one. and then brought in the other two women. Those three women are now one off of, well, they're all within one stroke of each other.
Going into the last hole.
This is the last hole. This is epic. This hole is so interesting. It has 1,230 feet. The first approximately 900 feet are very drastically downhill, and then the last approximately 300 feet are very drastically uphill. We had a screaming right to left wind on this one, and boy, this was an intimidating shot. You really had to keep the disc low.
Whoa, that's a huge flare. How did you approach throwing in such crazy conditions?
I listened to my coach.
Oh no! So Camille threw basically the same direction as you, but the wind just knocked it down.
Right. So I do think the key with this much wind was to keep it low.
This is an interesting hole to watch, because those trees look like they were going to get in her way of her shot, but she was in fact like 100 feet past them.
It is very hard from the tee to tell where your disc lands and what to expect.
Looks like Jenn is getting the full flight out of that, the flex.
Jenn threw a Zeus there. She's
And
very
look at this
good.
roll.
Yeah, she's very good with throwing the overstable disc downhill, which to me is fairly new. I normally throw a more neutral disc going downhill, but with the wind, that didn't seem like a wise option.
Looks like Camille's making up some of the distance, but it's pretty high. Okay, she's past those trees, so she should have a pretty clear third shot down to the bottom of the hill. And
So
Amanda just trying to get that 900 to 1,000 foot approach shot.
Right. The goal here is to get your second shot as close as possible to the bottom of the valley, and ideally you'll have a flat run up so that you're not forced to have a downhill run up to throw uphill, which is very tricky.
This looks like a great run up for Camille. She's going pretty wide.
Yeah, I think she's expecting that as that hyzers out, that the wind picks it up and pushes it down. Well, I meant down the hill, not into the hill. So okay. I think she was hoping to get more glide out of that once the bottom of the disc was shown to the wind.
That's going way right. There's OB
it's
over
going to
there.
come back. I was actually aiming just above that. I was aiming at the scar in the walk there, and I didn't know if I was going to be capable of getting it that far or not, but that was the goal.
Those are two huge shots. You're like 1,100 feet into this hole after two throws.
This hole was good for me. So that's a typical landing area. That's what you would hope for on FPO. She's going to have a pretty flat run up, and it's close enough that she'll be able to get to the basket. That was a good line, a little bit low.
The distances on this hole, the views are so deceiving. You think that something's going to be at the basket or beyond it, and it shows up far short.
Well, it's dealing with elevation levels that we're not used to. So, for example, this shot is probably 270 to 300, but with 35 feet of elevation gain. So actually she's probably less than that about. But you get the point. It's
so much extra power needed.
There's a function that you really need to calculate in your head that you're not used to doing. and so it's
So based on the goat hole, I'm pretty much sure that you're expecting this to go in.
I'm hoping that the wind doesn't take this and blow it far away from the basket. So I'm throwing a pig again, hoping that
it's going in.
I'm hoping that once it falls, starts hyzering out, that it just drops. And I liked the height. I liked the
Yeah.
I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell, though, how close it stayed.
All right, that's what we want. We just want to get up on that shelf, make the ending to the round, and the last putt as easy as possible.
Very smooth, very pretty.
So this is for birdie for Jenn, actually. Good distance on that.
As you might expect, this is a par 5. So once again, I'm putting into the wind. It's not a very big putt, but boy, I really want that birdie.
Oh, nice. Birdie on 18 on the Bay course is an amazing accomplishment.
Good feeling as you're walking off the course.
And this is a Mando for par. Nice. Camille for bogey only because of that strange break on the tee shot.
And that brings Camille back down to Jenn and Amanda, and they all end up finishing at 17 over, so it's a 3-way tie for second.
Oh, wow. Such a battle down the stretch. And you won. Congratulations, champion.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to have been able to play. I wasn't able to play in the New Year's Classic because of a broken hand, so I was anxious to get out and see this beautiful course for myself.
We're glad you made it. And here we see the Goats making their final appearance at Lake Chabot Golf Course for the Oakland City Championships.
Thank you to Local Route for filming this Final 9, and thank you to Innova-Discs for sponsoring this wonderful tournament.
And all the hardworking volunteers, the spotters, the Frisbee Central workers, everyone who makes these events happen.
Thank you for joining us. This is Juliana Korver, and
this is Arthur Coddington. It's been a pleasure to share the FPO Final 9 with you.
Yes, it certainly has. Thank you, Arthur.
It's been a pleasure.